So I think the first thought is maybe that it's not getting better, but I think it's just better awareness. Some of the stigma has been removed. Every day we see news stories, people talking in the media about sexual harassment, sexual assault. So I think the more people reaching out is a good thing. The one thing that still breaks my heart is when I go out and talk to community groups. I can almost guarantee at the end of every conversation, someone is going to come to me and say, hey, this happened to me when I was 14 or 18 or 27, and I never talked to anyone about it. And that's what we really want to reduce that. We want people to know that help is available in the community, that talking helps. Talking is the best thing to help recover from the trauma of abuse. And then ultimately, we want to prevent future assaults.
How about you, Sheriff?
Well, we don't see the numbers going down. I think it's pretty steady, but I think, like Mary said, I think the ease of the victims or their families reporting it has become easier, or I wouldn't say easy is the right word, but there's avenues that they can report this to, that they can still feel safe and find a way to heal, maybe is a better way of saying that.
Well, it's no longer just a phone call or whatever. Now you got text messages and social media that they can contact you, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would like to know, and I bet it's both. But who gets the first call usually? Is it the police or the sheriff's office, or is it Mary? Do you get the call first with the, and I would think it's maybe a little bit of both, is how you guys combine your efforts to help these people.
I would say it is a little bit of both. I think we probably get more calls here at Crisis Intervention because it's a little easier to pick up the phone and call an anonymous helpline and say, hey, this happened. I don't know if it's a thing or not. Last year, we worked with 95 new adult victims of sexual assault in this county. In that same time frame, law enforcement received 20 reports. So we're working with more people. But again, when you call us, we aren't going to ask for evidence. Your name doesn't pop up on our phone. It is completely confidential. You share as much as you want. And then we move forward with however you want to. I think another place where people enter or maybe initially report is also at the ER. Some people will go to the emergency room first because they saw on Law and Order that's what you're supposed to do. So that's what they do. And that when they go to the ER, they connect us with the victim as well as law enforcement.
So when they contact you, Mary, then who makes that next call to the police or the law enforcement?
When they call us first, we let them know what their options are. Okay. If they say, I don't want to involve law enforcement, we're going to respect their wishes. We're going to tell them how great local law enforcement is. We're going to tell them how well trained they are. We're going to explain the protocol. We're going to secretly hope that they let us call law enforcement, but we don't make them. And I'll let the sheriff talk about how they respond.
Yeah, and then on our side, when they call law enforcement, obviously we respond, and then all agencies in our county all have the same sexual assault protocol that we follow. So on that list is obviously, besides the keep them safe, get them medical treatment. Crisis intervention is on that checklist to call crisis intervention and get the victim an advocate to help them, walk them beside them through this, to navigate through their report, so to speak. And then we also, through the county attorney's office is another, the victim witness coordinator we connect them with there too.
Well, and let's just face it, dear Sheriff, in the name sexual assault is a crime.
It is.
That's where you come in. The sexual abuse part would be like where crisis intervention would be there to help. What are you guys doing this month then? What are you, I'm part of the awareness besides this interview here. What are you guys doing for it?
This is the highlight.
Oh,
this is it.
We're counting on this to prevent all future assaults in Saragota County. So We're counting on your listeners to pay attention, to make sure that they share resource information with people that they know.
All right.
The other thing, We're doing a lot of things throughout the area, but most of them are just one-on-one activities in different schools. We've got some activities happening on campus at both Nyack and Waldorf. But our main presence is on social media. I think our coalition is strong and mighty, but sometimes event planning isn't our forte. So we're going to focus a lot on social media this month.
Okay, very good. I do have a strange question to bring up, Mary, for you.
Awesome.
We seem to be in this interesting world now of identifying and things.
Mhm.
Because not only the sexual stuff, and this could be right along with that, but the mental health issues that some of our kids are going through.
Sure.
I don't know how many calls you get from kids, but and maybe parents that have kids that are going through this, interesting thing. We all know about the new law down in Florida that they brought in and stuff. Can you just kind of expand on that here, on a local level?
Can you kind of, I'm a little confused on what your question is.
Are you getting calls from parents saying my kid is identifying by this or that or whatever?
We really don't get those calls. I can't think of a time where we have. I mean, we might have gotten one or two through the years, but I think most people, when they're calling about some sort of interpersonal assault or crime. And I think with that, I think that's a little bit outside of our wheelhouse. I think we would try and refer them to medical professionals, mental health professionals, people with better skills and knowledge in that area.
Well, let me ask you this, like bullying, for example.
Okay.
That's an abuse?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
go that angle.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, we do get quite a few calls on bullying. And it's a mix. We get calls from parents and teachers wanting just, what's the best practice? What should we be doing? But then the majority of the calls that we get or messages are from teens and middle school people just wondering, this is happening. A lot of times it's happening to a friend. What can we do to support our friend? And I think that's where, as adults, sometimes we don't have the best tools. Kids are being bullied at school, or maybe they're being bullied online, but it's impacting them in the school, but the school feels that they can't do anything because it didn't happen in school, it happened online. And really, one of the best pieces of advice that we give young people is, let's find you a trusted adult to help you navigate this. We know that oftentimes the first person kids are going to talk to about everything from name calling to a violent assault is going to be a peer. And a lot of times they will say, don't tell anyone. And a lot of kids are walking around with those really heavy secrets that their friends have entrusted them with. And while we don't want you blabbing about your friends' secrets online or all over the place, that's real heavy for kids to work on. So let's find you a trusted adult and work through those issues together with someone that can help you navigate it.
Okay.
So is this taught or being brought up more in schools at all about some of this awareness? Does that help?
Yes. We have, we commonly go out to schools and present prevention programs for all grade levels. We start at preschool talking about good touch and bad touch and what to do if someone hurts you. And then we have programs geared towards grandparents. We have programs in colleges. So we're really at all grade levels talking both about prevention and then what to do if you know someone that's been assaulted. So we kind of take a two-prong approach.
Interesting, Sheriff. We talk so much about adults on this whole thing and just talking about the kids here and stuff. Do you, and I don't know, maybe that's a local police issue or whatever, but do you ever get calls on sexual assault with the students?
Oh yeah. Yep. Happens.
Okay.
Happens here in North Iowa. The majority of calls that we get for any kind of assault with sexual assault is not a stranger assault necessarily. It's someone they know. And so the sad part about that is that brings a whole new dynamic into not only the investigation, but also the healing process. There's it's just a whole new dynamic. Splits families apart.
Mhm.
It's very difficult. And I was going to just touch base on the awareness thing too. Law enforcement, when we respond to victims. A victim is a victim is a victim. Doesn't matter gender. It doesn't matter their identity. If a criminal law is broken, the victim is still the victim, and we want them to heal and move forward. So we have to take. By our law now, we're taking training now yearly on being sensitive to all kinds of people that maybe aren't like us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And people think that this is usually the women are the one that are calling in, but it's not always, right?
No, it's not.
It's the men too.
Yeah. And let's be honest, most victims are female in the sexual assault world. But there are male victims too, and we do have those calls also, but the majority are still women.
Mary, before we close here, what's the number one call you get?
The number one call,
Type of call you get.
the number one call is related to some sort of relationship abuse, whether it be acquaintance rape, dating violence, unhealthy relationships. That's the majority of the calls that we get.
Right. And how many times is it, maybe you can give me another answer, but mental health or addiction could be the bottom, the one thing, right?
Those issues are in the equation, I would say 60% of the time.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that either one causes violence and abuse, but I think it's somewhat like throwing gas on a fire.
Sure.
It makes a bad situation a little worse.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, the CIShelps.org, you see it scrolling there at the bottom of your screen. What can people expect when you go there, Mary? Just a lot of information or what?
We have a lot of information about all of our services. It has contact information for our offices throughout our 15 county service area. We have, what to do if you've been abused. There's a plethora of information. We also keep it updated with any events that we have going on. So it's a great place to check out. If you haven't looked at it, check it out. We're also on Facebook, and that's another place for people to check into Facebook, share our post, help spread the word. That's what we're really looking for this month, is help us spread the word.
I was going to say, share this. If you're watching this right now, share this no matter when you're watching. It's going to stay up. We put it on our websites too, so it's definitely going to be up there. We even give you a podcast version and the audio of it. So we appreciate whatever you can do to help this. And I don't know, Kevin, you're a good Christian man like I am. I just, people don't stop sinning. So, this is never going to end, but maybe we can somehow get people to curb.
We want to reduce the numbers. And obviously it's like Mary says often, this is totally preventable.
Yeah.
It's all about choices.
Right.
This isn't by accident.
Yeah. Right. We should be enjoying our life. It's a short time we're here anyway. So.
Yes.
All right. Jay, do you have anything more to add? I think we've had a good talk here with Mary and Sheriff Pals.
It's always good to see Mary.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Pals, it's always good to see him when he's like not behind me with the flashing lights.
I'm just glad that we're seeing each other on a broadcasting level. And that's
there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I've always wanted to be on the cop radio, but they never let me.
Well, your name has been there.
Well, I know that's the problem. That's what I'm talking about. How can I defend myself?
That's the point. It's just like you being on air too. We don't get to defend ourselves.
You just need to give him a ticket so he can.
He's had enough. He's had enough.
Yeah, that's right. I think Sheriff Pals' name's been mentioned on my morning show a few different times, and even a few jokes that, well, if I can't find him, he's probably at the donut shop.
Well, Sheriff, we will be talking to you too with Crime Stoppers here coming up for the month as well.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
We'll be having that conversation at a later time. But Thanks again, you guys, for being here. Our Fox 411 and Kiss Country Neighborhood News, which is all brought to you by CG Public Health, cghealth.com.